Working on a 99 Jeep Grand Cherokee here and trying to swap out the power brake booster, and ran into some snags. Could not find any videos on YouTube that showed me the way to go, so I thought I would make one for a change. Hopefully maybe help somebody else out. But as you can see, here's the new brake booster, and I'll show you in a minute why I've still got everything disassembled. But some of the videos talk about pulling the air box or the intake, whatever, resonator box. I did all that yesterday and then realized that that was not the way to go. Actually, we needed to come the other way here. There's 4 bolts. They're holding on the evaporative canister, and there's a little unit on the tab there, here, the solenoid or whatever. Pull that off and get it out of the way. Pull them 4 bolts and a couple hoses, that comes off. Then the tough part then is getting the air box out. I've already got mine out. There's 3 bolts, and you can see I cracked the tab on this one, horsing around with it. There's one there, and there's one that's really tough to get to down there. Well, the nuts are underneath the wheel well, and yesterday I tried doing it without taking the wheel off. I highly recommend taking the wheel off. It makes it way easier. It adds about 10 minutes to the job. So with the wheel well, pull some clips to get the liner down, and you could get to those bolts from underneath. They're pretty straightforward, other than this one down here. I had to get out. I found if I put my 13mm wrench on the top side and then my ratcheting 13mm underneath, it came off not too bad with some JB or with some PB Blaster. And then once you get those 3 out, it lifts right out without too much trouble. Now you can unplug your ABS module, unplug some other things, brake fluid level, and then there's 3 bolts holding the ABS unit in place, with 2 bolts and a nut. That used to be on that nut there. I found that it's almost a requirement to get all that out of the way. I also popped off some clips along the top here. Popped this brake line out of the clips to give me a little bit of flex, so I could slide this all back. And I'll show you what happened. I put it all back together, and in a hurry like usual. I don't know if you can see down inside there, but I bent and cracked the push rod. So it's back to the parts store to get another one. But with all this stuff out up here, it lifted out and out this way towards me without too much trouble when I removed it. There's no way it was going leftwards. So there's a clip inside. There's 4 bolts. Let's go take a look at that real quick. Alright, here's the other side on the inside. There's 4 nuts that need to come off, and you're way better off doing the top nuts first, like another video said. There's a clip that comes off without too much trouble. And then the other thing I had to do when I was all done is I had to reset the brake pedal switch travel length. And the procedure for that is this thing twists if you twist this thing. Alright, that's a little better. I'll just show you how this works. You twist that and pull it down. Unplug your wire harness, which is kind of tricky. These two little tabs you had to kind of jam back inside there with a small flathead screwdriver. Unplug it and then pull this plunger out. And if you kind of twist it, as you're pulling it, you'll feel it click. Because what happened was my brake light was stuck on no matter what I did. So you pull this plunger out and it'll stay out. Push your pedal down and then get this back up in there. And rotate it back into place. And then let your pedal up, and you'll hear it. If you let it up slowly, it'll click, 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 and reset this to 0. So it's remove the switch, unplug the harness, pull the plunger out, plug the harness back in, push down on your pedal to get it out of the way, snap this back into location, then finally let your pedal back up. And it'll reset that brake switch. That was the other fun thing I ran into. So that's about it. Internet says it's a super easy job. I did not find that to be the case. But hopefully this video helps somebody out. Alright. Here's a little bit better shot, hopefully, of this brake light switch. There I've got it taken apart. And so now, if you just kind of spin and pull on the end, let's see here. See that? Kind of clicks out. All right. Now we'll plug it back in. All right, now we're going to push down on our brake pedal. And then we're going to pop that back into the holder. With that plunger still extended. All right. I don't know if you can see that or not, but now that we twisted that back in, just let up on that brake pedal, and that should be set just right now. Also, here we are, booster number 2. You can see the pin or the push rod down inside there. And actually, with a little bit of light, it's pretty easy to line this up. Now, as opposed to the first time I kind of crammed it in there and pushed it off to the side. That was my big mistake. Alright, got her back on there. Now, should be able to plug this back in. I think you gotta lift up on that. And then it kind of draws it in there as you close it. So then, ABS module back over that stud there. Right here. Everything looks pretty good. Get this vacuum line on back here. Nothing ever makes anything simple. Alright, we're on the home stretch now. I found it was easier to get to this bolt for the ABS module if I left that harness unplugged. I showed that plugging in early, so get that out of the way. This bolt's way easier to get to tighten it down. Everything's looking pretty good. Got the air box back on. All I got left to do is to put the canister back and hook up assortment of electrical connector here to that. There's a little holes coming in the bottom that came loose. Got to plug that back in. That should be no sweat. And then snap the wheel well back in. Here's the back side of 1, 2, and then 3 nuts and bolts for the air box. God only knows why they did it this way back then, but it's super annoying. And then I also ended up busting some of the body trim clips, so I bought some assortment of those, so hopefully that thing snaps back in, tire back on, take her for a test drive. Alright, hope this was helpful.